This is my half of an onion, my bay leaf, my tablespoon of garlic, and my half a big spoonful of salt. The first step is to place your pork and beef into a boiling hot pot of water. As the meat is left in the water molecules will hydrate the meat as they enter into it. The meat will tenderize because of the heat molecules will penetrate the bonds of the meat. Since the meat's chemistry is being chemically altered, the boiling of the meat results in the browning process, which is the process of rearranging simple sugars and amino acids into clusters of rings that reflect off a brown color, and as these amino acids and sugars continue to react to each other, they will produce more and more molecules that will give off a potent aromas. So once your meat is falling apart, you can remove the meat from the broth and put it into a separate pot so you can use the excess broth to make your gravy. Then add the salt, bay leaf, white onion, and garlic into the pot. Since you see the difference between the garlic, bay leaf, and white onion, it is a heterogeneous mixture. After adding all of those ingredients, let the meat settle for 3 to 4 hours, allowing the meat to brown in the process of the Maillard reaction, which is the rearranging of the sugar's amino acids into rings of clusters that give off that brown color.
After taking the meat out, which is an exothermic reaction of the broth, and placing it into a new pot off to the side, take the leftover broth and add the flour and chili powder into the pot of the broth on the stove. Stir continuously, which will become a heterogeneous mixture because they do not combine with each other and chemically change. The chili powder and flour chemical bonds will break apart because of the whisking that will break the surface area of the bonds that will then create new bonds to uniformize the ingredients. Turn the stove on to medium heat and the ingredients, creating an endothermic reaction, will combine making a single composition.
Wash your hands and add the masa into a large bowl. To ensure the masa has a uniform look and touch to it, massage and toss it around to get rid of any grain-like feel to it. This is only a physical reaction because you're only modifying the appearance of it.
To soften the corn husks to make them more amendable, boil water. The outcome will be a physical change and an endothermic reaction, because heat is piercing the water bonds that will break and turn into water vapor. Throw in the corn husks into the boiling water for 5 minutes, and an endothermic reaction will take place again because of the heat infiltrating the corn husks, which the water will also be entering them to actually soften the husks. This is the process of osmosis. Since the water and husks aren't combining and making a single compound and the difference between the two is visible, it is a heterogeneous combination.
Finally, putting together the tamales is the last part. Grab a corn husk and spread some masa onto the inside of the husk. This is only a physical change because you are not revising the structure of the original bonds of the masa and the corn husk. And it's also a heterogeneous mixture because the masa and the corn husk are visibly separated. Then take a smaller amount of the meat than the masa and place it on top of the masa, still making this a heterogeneous mixture because of each ingredient is maintaining their own properties and staying the same. Wrap up your corn husk and place them facing up into your boiling pot of water. So the tamale will absorb the heated water and cook the masa, which will be our endothermic reaction. However, this is a chemical reaction because of the process of changing the form of the masa that will harden and the flavors will come out.